Good evening and welcome to tonight's regional news. We now start our newscast with a story from Guatemala. At least 50 people have been killed in landslides in Guatemala after Storm Eta's torrential rain and high winds battered the Central American country. Eta is believed to have killed more than 70 people. Guatemalan President Alejandro Giammattei said around half the deaths were in a single town where a hillslide collapse buried some 20 houses under thick mud. It was later downgraded to a tropical storm. Ongoing heavy rain has left rescue workers unable to reach one of the worst affected areas, including the town of San Cristobal Verapaz, where it is home to half the reported casualties. Eta first hit Guatemala as a Category 4 hurricane with winds of 225 kilometers per hour and torrential rains. It then weakened into a tropical depression as it moved into neighboring Nicaragua, where it made landfall, and then Honduras, where it caused the death of a San Pedro Sula 13-year-old girl when the wall of her home collapsed on her as she slept. The storm is expected to regain strength this weekend as it moves northeast towards Cuba and Florida. And now for some news from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Dr. Ralph Gonsalves has been re-elected Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines for a fifth term. The electorate gave Dr. Gonsalves' Unity Labour Party ULP 9 of the 15 seats in Parliament. It represents an increase of 3 seats on the previous 1-seat majority he had enjoyed in the last 2 general elections. It is also the first time that a political party has won 5 consecutive general elections there. Gonsalves, 74, easily won his north-central windward seat he has been representing since 2001, brushing aside the 2 other candidates in Chieftain Neptune of the main opposition New Democratic Party (NDP) and Kadimiel McPhee of CVG Green Party. NDP leader Dr. Goodwin Friday, 61, who led the party into a general election for the first time, easily retained the Northern Grenadines seat he has represented in Parliament since 2001. He polled 2,123 votes against 458 for the ULP's Carlos Williams. And now in Antigua and Barbuda. Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown says he is concerned about a recent Barbados travel advisory which classified the country as a COVID-19 high risk. Barbados placed Antigua and Barbuda and 13 other countries on a list of countries whose nationals are at high risk of carrying the coronavirus. The categorization will affect persons from these countries wishing to enter Barbados effective from November 3. PM Brown is of the opinion that the classification was made without evidence to support the claim. Brown said that justification for doing so must be provided. The Prime Minister said that the Caribbean Public Health Agency's categorization of a low-risk state is one with less than 20 active cases. And internationally, all eyes are on Battleground, Pennsylvania, as Philadelphia and the surrounding suburban counties continue to count ballots. In one of the nation's largest cities, election workers have been processing ballots for 24 hours a day since Election Day. The Trump and Biden campaigns see the Commonwealth's 20 electoral votes as essential to clinch victory. Since 2008, every presidential candidate to win the Pennsylvania has won the presidency. The former Vice President Joe Biden has the lead in Pennsylvania and Georgia, closing in on a presidency that hinges on the outcome of tight contests in key battleground states. In Pennsylvania, just about 95% of the votes are in, and Biden is now up by more than 5,000 votes, or 0.1%. As of Friday morning, the workers inside the Pennsylvania Convention Center still had about 50,000 mail-in ballots to count. They are processing about 10,000 ballots an hour. With the race in Pennsylvania getting tighter and tighter, the call could come down to those votes. Meanwhile, 2 heavily armed men found outside the Pennsylvania Convention Center were taken into police custody late Thursday night. This comes as votes are currently being counted inside of the center. That was all for tonight's regional news. Thank you for joining us.